Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Marvel Studios announced to have a mystery untitled film releasing on December 15th, 2028, which Variety reported would be the fourth possible Marvel release window of that year. Not all of them necessarily gonna be filled, and that the contenders for that December 2028 slot include X-Men, Blade, Black Panther 3, and a sequel to Fantastic Four: First Steps. In this video, I'm gonna break down everything we learned this week about each of those possible titles being the next big event after Secret Wars. And since we're talking about a distant future of 2028, something that you could do in the meantime is rewatch one of the most needlessly complex movies ever, Christopher Nolan's Tenet, because I broke my brain spending the past 9 months making a 2-hour analysis to finally understand that damn movie. And that analysis is coming to the Deep Dive channel in the next week, so please subscribe over there if you're interested. On Wednesday, Variety reported an announcement from Disney that Marvel Studios is scheduled to release an untitled movie on December 15th, 2028, a fourth feature from Marvel in the 2028 calendar year, joining some other possible release windows that mystery films could occupy in February 2028, May 2028, and November 2028. The furthest out confirmed Marvel release that we know about is Avengers: Secret Wars, coming December 17th, 2027. According to scooper Daniel RPK, Marvel is still not expected to split Secret Wars into 2 parts, so we aren't anticipating one of those 2028 slots being like a Secret Wars Part 2. But Variety went on to confirm from Marvel that the speculation that Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier is directing the MCU X-Men reboot is true. That is moving forward. There have been past reports of a script being completed by screenwriter Michael Leslie, and Kevin Feige has confirmed that after the multiverse saga concludes with Secret Wars, the mutant saga is coming next. Variety closed their article speculating that the other possible titles to fill the 2028 slots, in addition to X-Men, are Blade, Black Panther 3, and a Fantastic Four sequel. Now, it's not clear based on the wording if this part was just speculation by the article's writer, Adam B. Vary, because this part of it only seems to be coming from this Variety article, but Vary is a long-time entertainment journalist, and he wrote this article with the confirmation from an official source that he has at Marvel who wanted this message to get out there. And so I think we can give some extra weight to his speculation because it might have been something on background that he has with that source. So again, I do not think we are looking at a 2028 with 4 Marvel movies released, like Blade in February 2028, Fantastic Four: Giant Leap in May 2028, Black Panther 3 in November 2028, and then X-Men in December 2028. No. Because Marvel Studios and Disney as a whole have conceded that they made too many movies, too many shows throughout 2021 to 2023, and shifting Avengers: Doomsday and Avengers: Secret Wars back by 6 months each is part of that strategy to make less and focus on quality over quantity, and just focus more on making each individual title essential, and to focus more on films and consider television shows in a separate Marvel television category, that you do not have to watch every episode of every show in order to be clued in on what's going to happen in the films. Disney CEO Bob Iger put it this way during a Disney investor call in early May. Quote, "We all know that in our zeal to flood our streaming platform with more content, that we turned to all of our creative engines, including Marvel, and had them produce a lot more. We've also learned over time that quantity does not necessarily beget quality, and frankly, we've all admitted to ourselves that we lost a little focus by making too much. By consolidating a bit and having Marvel focus much more on their films, we believe that will result in better quality. And I think the first and best example is Thunderbolts. I feel very good about that." Well, Thunderbolts ended up making a final box office of $380 million, which Variety's Rebecca Rubin reported last week was far short of the $425 million she said the film needed to break even after marketing costs and profit sharing with theater chains. Now, Disney just announced that they are shifting Thunderbolts from theaters to Disney Plus starting July 1st, and it has never been clear how Disney internally calculates the net profit from these titles being streamed on the platform, but they must profit something from these movies being streamed on Disney Plus. Like, Disney hosted a hang glider event to promote Captain America: Brave New World going live on Disney Plus on May 28th. Like, they wouldn't invest anything to promoting a Disney Plus release of a previously theatrical film if they didn't make a significant chunk of change from doing that. And there's just a lot of technical reasons that are hard for entertainment media like me to look into, because it's all hidden by these streamers. And it's largely because if they were transparent about it, that would put them at a weaker negotiating point the next time one of these unions goes on strike. But realistically, there's some kind of return on investment based off of watch hours and how long a single user session is and how likely that person is to stay subscribed the next month versus unsubscribed. So despite Thunderbolts coming up short, I think it's just too soon to write it off as a complete loss in the studio's eyes. They're confident enough in what Thunderbolts achieved creatively to entrust its director to helm their next big tentpole tentpole after Secret Wars, X-Men. So when it comes to the 4 total possibilities of Marvel releases in 2028, at least 2 of them are placeholder dates that Disney is probably just holding on to right now to give themselves the option of whether to release a second film in February or May or November. Today's video is sponsored by Blue Chew. Summer movie season is almost upon us, and while we're all hoping for record-breaking blockbusters, sometimes you wind up with a flop. Watching a flop in a packed theater can be fun, but a flop in the bedroom? That hits different. Luckily, Blue Chew's here to turn your flops into movie magic! Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. It's super easy too. Just sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. You can take Blue Chew anytime, day or night. That way you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. It's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. If you're skeptical or don't think you need it, try it free for a month and see. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners and viewers. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code ROCKSTARS. Just pay the $5 in shipping. That's promo code ROCKSTARS. And visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's video. So let's look at those 4 mentioned options more in depth to figure out what Marvel's 2028 slate is most likely to look like. Starting with Black Panther 3. That might be the title they're most eager to move forward with. Ryan Coogler has been writing the script, and the studio is dying to continue a good working relationship with the director, who broke records with the unlikely success of Sinners with Warner Brothers. We cannot say enough about how game-changing Sinners was. They re-released it in 70mm IMAX. In fact, they're building bigger IMAX screens in the LA area based off of how well Sinners did. And that's a big reason why Marvel suddenly put Ryan Coogler front and center in the sparse Ironheart marketing to remind viewers that, hey, this guy was the executive producer of this Ironheart show. What we know about Black Panther 3 is that Ryan Coogler is writing the script, Denzel Washington is confirmed for a role, and former Marvel Studios executive Nate Moore is returning to produce this film, I suppose after he returns from shooting Survivor 49. And that recently, actor Damson Idris confirmed that he had been in talks to play a new Black Panther while Idris was promoting F1 on the Today Show this week.
There's some speculation out there in the universe that you could be cast as the next Black Panther. Have you had any conversations about that? Yes or no?
Yes, no.
By the way, the yes, no means yes.
Could mean no.
No, probably means yes. If they asked, would you say yes?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason Damson Idris was even asked this question is because his likeness appeared in concept art for Avengers Doomsday. Now, in past videos, New Rockstars' position was do not show these images at first, but since we said that, the Russo brothers have come out to say that because this is concept art and they claim it's not official storyboard art for the movie they're making, that they are completely okay with media outlets showing this art and speculating on it. So the directors gave us the green light here. This is the image we're talking about. And when this concept art leaks, the original image URL labeled this image as T'Challa, who is the grandfather of T'Challa. So it could be a scenario where part of the concept art that was being commissioned for Avengers Doomsday included the possibility that Dr. Doom's battle world included a Wakanda from another time or another universe where Black Panther is T'Challa. Again, that is not confirmed for Avengers Doomsday. That's just one of the ideas they were considering. Now, I'm not sure if Ryan Coogler in Black Panther 3 would be that interested in exploring a Black Panther from another dimension in the multiverse. I mean, maybe he will if he can establish that everything this alternate universe T'Challa went through was exactly parallel to the events of the 2018 film that Coogler directed, and that T'Challa and all of his ancestors having the same history, with the what if scenario exception of this being a T'Challa who did not get an illness. But if Coogler doesn't want to touch the multiverse at all, and I wouldn't blame him if he feels that way, who could Damson Idris be playing? Would it be an older version of T'Challa Jr., whom we were left with at the end of Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Maybe. Or could Denzel Washington and Damson Idris be playing ancestors earlier in T'Challa's bloodline, like his grandfather T'Challa and his father T'Chaka, sometime in the past, like in the 1960s or 1970s of the 616 MCU. Obviously, Ryan Coogler, with Sinners, knows how to make a period film. So the next option we're going to look at is Blade. So the production status of Blade has not changed since we've last reported on it. It's still up in the air. Mahershala Ali is reportedly still interested in moving forward, but various sources have confirmed to us that it is his dissatisfaction with the previous versions of the scripts, and some concerns of some of those drafts' similarities to Ryan Coogler's Sinners that has resulted in the stall. Costume designer Ruth E. Carter has hinted at what her possible costume designs for Marvel Studios' Blade would have looked like, confirming that the version of the film she was working on was to be a 1920s period piece. And the Carter-designed wardrobe Tiana Taylor wore to the 2025 Met Gala was supposedly what those designs would have looked like, an opulent jazz age aesthetic reflective of the Harlem Renaissance, which is a world apart from the rural Mississippi production design of Sinners, if you ask me. 1932 Mississippi is not the same thing as 1920s Harlem, but I'm not on the inside of those conversations about Blade, and I'm also not the best expert to tell anyone what the right move is here. Daniel RPK claimed that Marvel Studios has brought back up the Midnight Suns as a possible play here, which could team up Blade with the likes of Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Black Knight, Punisher, and Doctor Strange. I would take that over no Blade at all. But let's talk about a possible sequel to Fantastic Four First Steps. That, of course, is all going to depend on the success of Fantastic Four this summer. By mid-July, Marvel will have a good indicator of the opening weekend ticket sales, and early press reviews will give some indication of whether First Steps has a path to the high six figures box office total that Disney is hoping for, at least some confidence that the studio would need to immediately greenlight a sequel based on the belt-tightening mindset they're in right now. Again, we would be talking about a post-Secret Wars Fantastic Four story, and there's still just too much to consider with how the Fantastic Four and Franklin Richards are going to play into the plot of Doomsday and Secret Wars before even thinking about what they would do in their own sequel after that crossover event. It's like being in 2010 and asking, what's Tony Stark going to do in Iron Man 3? And what's Thor going to do in Thor 2? And what's Steve Rogers going to do in Captain America 2 after the 2012 Avengers? Like, it's just pretty hard to plan that far ahead. But one assumption we can make is that at this point, the Fantastic Four is going to have to explore a relationship with their Doctor Doom from their universe, or at least whatever the 616 universe is going to look like after Secret Wars. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is just too expensive to be the permanent Doctor Doom of the MCU's mutant saga and beyond. Marvel Studios needs a different Doctor Doom, like a long-term Doctor Doom, a Phase 3 Loki tier Doctor Doom, not a God Emperor Doom who's trying to rule over the whole multiverse, but just a perennial thorn in the side of Reed Richards within the MCU, played by a different actor. So that leaves us with Jake Schreier's X-Men, a script by Michael Leslie. This is going to be the major mutant saga tentpole event, with a new cast of X-Men after we formally said goodbye to the OG Fox-era X-Men of Universe 10005 in Doomsday and Secret Wars. We're gonna have a new X-Mansion, a new Professor X, a new Magneto, a new Jean Grey, a new Cyclops, a new everybody. And we've been speculating that this is going to be a live-action version of the 90s X-Men animated series. Because think about it, in 2028, we're likely talking about after X-Men 97 has concluded its run. So picture this, kid mutants trying to find a place in the soap opera drama of their teachers while facing persecution from humanity, hunting them down with threats like Sentinels. It's a classic mutant narrative, and it works. So what movies will Marvel actually drop in 2028? Well, if we're going by script progress and announced directors, X-Men and Black Panther 3. But again, a lot can change between now and then. Hey, speaking of X-Men, New Rockstars now has an audio-only podcast called The Danger Room, where myself and others from New Rockstars will get into some pretty tangential chats and rants and shop talk that we just felt were too spicy or too off-topic for our YouTube channels, and really just a better fit as an audio-only podcast where listeners will know what they're signing up for. We are offering this as the first show of our new paid subscription audio service that we're trying out called New Rockstars Underground. The first episode of The Danger Room is free to all wherever you listen to New Rockstars on podcasts. Link is in the description. So take a listen to that, get a taste of it, and if you like it, and if you're able to support this experiment we're doing, you can subscribe to get the rest. We are still a YouTube-focused operation. Nothing's changing. This is just a side project that you can totally opt out of and not miss anything. And if you're a member of New Rockstars, specifically an executive producer like the incredible Frederick Price, thank you by the way, you have been contacted by our team on how you can transfer your support to us on New Rockstars Underground and still get all your member benefits that you get here if you want it. Thanks for watching this video. Follow me at Erik Voss and subscribe to all the channels in the New Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.